You're listening to AI Prism from Seoul Economic Daily.
It's Tuesday, May 12th. I'd like to share some thoughts about Industry Daily. So, imagine you are running procurement for a major data center.
Right, a high-stakes job on a good day.
Exactly. And the absolute bedrock of your memory chip supply suddenly threatens to go dark in, say, 9 days.
Which is a pretty terrifying prospect for any strategy team.
Right. So today we're taking a deep dive into Seoul Economic Daily reports to decode what happens when Korea's famously stable industries start shifting underneath global supply chains.
Yeah.
We're looking at this really critical pivot from absolute operational stability to sudden structural and labor risks.
Yeah, because for decades, global supply chain managers have modeled Korean manufacturing as a constant.
Right.
And now, it's becoming a variable. Our mission here is to understand how OEM procurement teams must recalibrate when that legacy predictability just breaks down.
And the most immediate breakdown is obviously at Samsung Electronics. Historically, they've operated under a very strict no union policy.
Yes, exactly. A stripped another family approach.
But now they're facing a potential first-ever full strike on May 21. For a supply chain manager, this isn't just a generic delay. It's like finding out your clearinghouse might, suddenly stop processing transactions.
Because the union wants an uncapped 15% cut of operating profit. Meanwhile, management is offering fixed wage hikes and a 10% bonus pool for the Device Solutions division, along with up to $360,000 in housing loans.
And the Device Solutions division, that's the critical semiconductor wing, right?
Right, the one powering global tech. So the gap in their compensation philosophy it just seems unbridgeable right now.
So how do major buyers actually hedge against a concrete date like May 21, like a sudden fault line and a bedrock foundation?
Well, by demanding structural contingencies immediately. Apple and HP are already forcing Samsung's hand for backup plans.
Wow, already?
Yeah, and AMCHAM, the American Chamber of Commerce in Korea, they issued a direct warning that these bottlenecks will naturally drive buyers to diversify.
Which directly benefits rivals.
Exactly. Rivals like Taiwan's TSMC and China's CXMT. And JP Morgan models show a full strike could hit Samsung's operating profit by roughly $29 billion by 2026.
$29 billion, that's massive.
Yeah, it forces procurement desks to write entirely new risk premiums into their contracts.
But that breakdown of legacy predictability, it isn't just isolated to modern tech. Let's look at POSCO, Korea's foundational steel maker. They have a 58-year streak of being completely strike-free since 1968.
Right, an incredible historic run of internal labor peace.
And now the union has filed for mediation because POSCO is directly hiring 7,000 contract workers to end this 15-year legal dispute over on-site subcontracting. I'm genuinely confused by the paradox here.
Correct.
Bringing subcontractors in-house is an ESG-friendly move, isn't it?
It is, yeah. A major ESG win on paper.
So why would the existing union threaten a strike over the company adopting, better labor practices?
Because absorbing 7,000 new employees overnight fundamentally alters the internal power dynamics. The courts are increasingly ruling that utilizing subcontracted labor for core production is illegal dispatch.
Ah, so they're forcing POSCO to comply.
Right. But for the legacy union, this influx threatens to dilute their bargaining power.
Yeah.
It disrupts established seniority and pay ladders. It's really a live case study in how an externally mandated ESG restructuring can, ironically, destabilize a legacy workforce.
So domestic labor dynamics are scrambling predictability on the supply side. But then looking at the energy sector, strategy teams are dealing with these wild external variables.
Oh, definitely. Geopolitics plays a huge role there.
Like S-Oil,
Yeah.
the Saudi Aramco-backed refiner. They just swung from a previous loss to an $890 million operating profit in the first quarter. And the reports attribute this to lagging effects, right?
Yes, exactly. Buying crude cheap during a geopolitical dip like the U.S.-Iran tensions refining it, and selling the finished product higher.
But surely an energy desk can't model long-term strategy on a temporary lagging effect. Is that just a temporary geopolitical dividend compared to, say, actual structural changes?
Your skepticism is entirely warranted there. Those inventory valuation gains are episodic. Strategy teams look past that temporary windfall and focus on the structural pivot.
You mean the Shaheen project?
Right. S-Oil's Shaheen petrochemical project, which is hitting 96.9% completion, that facility physically diversifies Korean refiners away from transport fuels and into high-value petrochemicals. It leverages foreign energy partnerships to lock in durable, long-term stability.
And that concept of locking in long-term stability, from foreign partnerships to outward global expansion, it connects perfectly to how Korean firms are maneuvering in hardware and soft power. Like
Yeah.
KOTRA, Korea's state trade promotion agency, brokering a second deal with Estonia for Hanwha's Cheonmu multiple rocket launchers.
Right, delivering those by 2027.
Yeah, and Estonia specifically cited the cold climate reliability of Kbangsan, or the Korean defense industry. And then, on a totally different front, Hyundai just launched the N racing simulator to embed itself in global motorsport culture.
Which seemed completely unrelated at first glance.
Exactly. Heavy artillery and virtual racing are worlds apart, but the strategic goal is identical, right?
Yeah.
Cementing sticky, long-term customer relationships
Yeah.
rather than just securing one-off hardware sales.
Yeah, a second sovereign purchase negotiated through a state agency like KOTRA signals that Estonia isn't just buying hardware, they're integrating into a complex, long-term global alliance.
Makes total sense.
And Hyundai Simulator does the same thing culturally. Both companies are moving past manufacturing scale to install their infrastructure deeply into the buyer's operations.
Which leaves you with a really critical, provocative thought for your own risk models. If Korea's industrial identity is shifting from mere manufacturing scale to managing complex global alliances amid domestic labor awakenings, do global buyers now need to price a permanent diplomatic and labor risk premium into every component they source? That's today's AI Prism, Industry Daily. This episode was produced with AI assistance based on Seoul Economic Daily reporting and reviewed by a human editor. AI Prism is a 1E4 award-winning series. We'll be back tomorrow.
You've been listening to AI Prism from Seoul Economic Daily.